Oh, turn off your Wi-Fi.
I did.
Okay, okay. All right, we are live. Welcome everybody to another Ladies Night Live. We got some great ladies here. I'll start with Bug Out and just say a little bit who you are, and I'll go around to everybody else.
Hey y'all, it's me, Bug Out Adventures. Glad y'all are in here. We got a wonderful panel tonight. Get your pen and paper ready and get ready to learn something.
All right, Terminator, tell us
Hello,
introduce you.
ladies. Hello, everyone. Terminator here from Canada, Ontario, Canada. And we do have a lot of lovely ladies tonight. You're going to learn a lot.
Southern Tier.
Hi, everybody. I'm Southern Cheer Prepper. I live in southern upstate New York with my husband and 3 of our kids. We homestead, homeschool, and recently lost our home to a tractor accident. So, learning a lot about living primitive and happy to be here.
All right, Yetta.
I'm Yoda from Grumpy Acres Farm. You can find us on YouTube. We also have grumpyacresfarm.com. You can go in, get some of our freeze-dried food and some of our natural medicine that we make around here that's all grown on our land. And that's who we are.
Oh, make sure you ask Yoda about them growing.
Yes. All right, so I'm gonna jump us into gardening real quick because I want to ask Yoda a question. I know Terminator told me on another live the other night about it. Your seed, that Buffalo Seed Company.
Uh-huh.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? And I'm actually very interested in getting hooked up with them.
Okay. So buffaloseedcompany.com is who they are. It's Nancy and her husband. And they are actually local to Kansas. And but what they do, she actually has her doctorate in tomatoes. And so this is her life. This is what she went to university for, her husband as well, and all of that. Their goal is to get drought hardy seeds, which especially right now, well, we've had a lot of rain this year, but you guys know how it goes back and forth, back and forth. So it's about keeping the plants going and all of that, minimal watering. And so what they do is once a year, early spring, you kind of need to get in there about January, February and see what their list is. But what they'll do is they'll have seeds available. And she'll even like the tomatoes and peppers and that kind of thing. She'll start those. You guys are down in Florida, so that may be a little bit different. But if you sign a contract with her, and it's a wash contract. So if you basically what I mean by that, you're going to sign a contract. So if she gives you these plants and you grow them, you have to grow them the way that she tells you to grow them. It's a lot of Indian weave, that kind of thing. So it's not your traditional, you're going to go trim and do this and get the armpit. We're just talking tomatoes, right? You're not going to go do all of that. So you need to just let these go and let them grow. It's about minimal maintenance. You want the plants to do the work for you. Then what she'll do, she'll get, so take for example, if it's a tomato plant. So that tomato plant, she automatically gets, at the time, it was 25 pounds of tomatoes. So if the tomato plant does not produce and she cannot get the tomatoes, you don't owe anything. It's a wash. However, if the tomatoes are good and she gets the 25 pounds of really good tomatoes and those tomatoes continue to flourish and they continue to get better, peppers, etc., cucumbers, there's all kinds of stuff, wheat, barley, tobacco, the whole 9 yards. And so if those continue to flourish, then she will buy those back from you. And so it's about continuing to get the best seeds and harvesting and all of that. So it's just another way to generate some income so that your homestead is working for you.
Okay. And how much plants do you have that you do through them?
So I don't have a contract with them this year. Bethany, I'm not sure if B does either. When that started, that was a few years ago. Now I'm at the point that I have her seeds and I can just go through and do whatever. I've got Kiwana. Kiwana is coming in. It's looking wonderful. I've got the tomatoes going. It's just a matter of how much you can put and where you can fit it. So we have the main garden. We are not, guys, don't get discouraged because I have so many damn weeds in my garden. It's not even funny. So I'm like searching through weeds to get to tomatoes and all kinds of stuff. It's hot. And so, and the rain hasn't helped either. So, but you just kind of do what you can do and then let those go. Like I said, it's minimal maintenance. And so I'll probably end up with, I'm going to say, a good 1,000 pounds, if not more, of tomatoes, different varieties of tomatoes this year. I've got, as far as Kiwana goes, I had some plants that drowned, but I have 2 good areas that are coming up. Kiwana, I probably will end up, I don't know, I'll be curious about that one because this is the first year that I've done those. And do you guys know what a Kiwana is?
Well, that's what I was fixing to ask you.
Okay, so Kiwana is a fruit from Africa, and so it's drought hardy, but it's a mix. The taste is kiwi, banana, and watermelon. And
Wow.
yeah, so those fruits actually sell for $6 a piece in the grocery store. So this is another way that you can take their seeds and then you can grow those and then set up your pop-up stand, farmers market. Remember, what was it? 2 weeks ago, we were talking about how to make money on your farm and get it working for you. So pop-up fruit stands, and that's a great way to do it, farm stands. And you just go set up on a corner and then do it. And if the police department asks you to move that day, and then show back up on a different corner the next day. But here we don't really have that problem. We just kind of go wherever we want. And Garen works out on the reservation, so we have a lot of people that just get stuff through us that way. But yeah, so Buffalo Seed Company is a good one. I would imagine that you probably have seed companies that are local to your area. I know in Florida you do. You actually have the food forest nurseries down there because we have 1 or 2 of them that are connected through freesteading.com. So if you guys are not on freesteading.com, you'll want to get on there. It's free. It's a free-form platform, so you can just say whatever you want, that kind of thing. Don't be an ass. If you're going to be a monkey's ass, you're probably going to get called out on it, but you're welcome to say whatever you want.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so it's private, and so we had a couple of members of the community that actually bought it and put their hard work money into it to get it together. So, but you can go into your state page, and then once you go into your state page, you can introduce yourself, see who else is in Florida and what they're doing. And I know that you can connect with those food forest nurseries in Florida where you guys are at.
Oh, that's cool.
Every state has them. We've got, I believe there's 2 countries in there, and or I guess with America would be 3 countries, and then of course all the states in the United States. So.
Thank you so much. That was so much information, and I know I seen in a couple of the chat here. A couple people were very interested in that as well. And I know Bug Out. I hope you wrote that down too.
Oh, I got my book. I got it. I got my handy dandy marker. And I got my book and I got it written down. I sure do. I'm prepared today. I ain't slacking this afternoon.
All right. Let's hear a little bit from Southern Tier. Tell us, what you got a garden going? If so, what kind of stuff are you growing in it and everything?
So normally we have a huge garden. But this year with the accident, the tractor hit on April 23rd. So between that and my back injury, gardening was pretty much out of the question aside from what had already been planted in the fall and what was coming up from our residuals. So I just harvested our garlic the other day that I'd planted in the fall, and that's curing right now. And then I guess I haven't been able to walk out to our orchard because of my back. I've been in bed probably 90% of the time lately. But my husband says that our apple trees and our pear trees are loaded. I did see that our grapevines are loaded because I can see those when I'm driving out of the driveway. So permaculture definitely does pay off. I had big plans this year to start a lot more like fruit bushes. And I actually had on the deck hardening off when it happened. I had currants and sea berries and cold hardy kiwis. I had some cold hardy figs that I've had for several years as sort of like house plants, but I was finally going to plant them this year. I had some bare root pawpaws. I was really going gangbusters this year, and then things happened, and those things were actually on the deck, and the tractor drove through the deck. So those were definitely on the list of contents that we expect them to pay to have replaced, but you can't replace the time.
Right.
So that really sucks. I also had I think 15 American hazelnut saplings
Mm,
in there,
mm.
and I mean this was going to be the year of permaculture, and it really it really all went to shit really fast. So but next year, my back will be healed. We'll have a new house up. I just planted 4 new raised beds. And my greens and my turnips and my carrots and my beets were all just coming up, and those all got squashed too. So,
Mm.
um, being laid up, I've had a lot of time to daydream and plan, and we have an idea of what the footprint of the new house is probably going to look like. So I'm like sketching out like raised bed patterns and where's this going to go and where's that going to go and all that stuff. So hopefully, I'm a firm believer that God has a plan for everything, and hopefully it's in his plan to make, next year's gardens a great new fresh start for everything bigger and better.
Oh
um
yeah.
yeah, and a
Yeah.
friend of mine up here locally actually owns dollarseed.com, and they sell all heirloom seeds for $1 a pack. And because I lost everything, he's actually going to be hooking me up with seeds for next year.
Beautiful.
So I really appreciate that. And great couple that owns it, and great prices. You can't really ask for much cheaper than that. So
Say what's the website again?
it's dollarseed.com.
Okay. It's really good information. So I wanted everybody to try to get it. If you needed to write it down, all that. So,
Yep.
Terminator, what kind of things are you doing up in Canada?
Well, I've got every vegetable that you can think of growing as much. Um, I'm having trouble with slugs, but it's because we've been having a lot of cold weather. The last week, our weather's been down in the 50s. So
Mm.
in the evening, so like overnight. But I've got broccoli, Brussels sprouts. We've been eating beet tops and turnip tops. I'm going to pull beets tomorrow. My daughter-in-law called me. I was in the barn feeding my pigs tonight, and she said, "Is there anything I can get out of the garden?" I said, "Come on over," because my son lives on the property with us. And I took her through the garden, and she pulled some carrots. My carrots are going crazy, so I got to get pulling them. And I went and bought myself some heirloom old-fashioned watermelon,
Mm.
and I want to see if I can grow it here because we have a short season. And actually, it's just taken off like crazy. And I've noticed about a dozen baby watermelons, so I'm hoping I really nurture it. But I have corn's not doing really great because of our weather, and my cabbage is going nuts. I have my pole beans from the Buffalo Seed Company; they're doing great. And I have my yellow beans. I have my husband told me that I couldn't grow peas, so I planted peas. They're over 7 feet tall. I went down to the garden this afternoon, and I've got them tied up, but the whole tops are so heavy they fell over. They're hanging over with all my big sunflowers. I got massive sunflowers growing like crazy. Then I've started. Everybody grows the Roma tomatoes, which is a paste tomato. Well, I'm growing the Hungarian heart tomato, and it is paste tomato, low acid. And I grew them last year on just a couple plants, and I ended up growing one that was over a pound. I got 8 slices out of it, so I'm
Wow.
hoping to get a good crop this year. And the Buffalo Seed Company, because I was on her site, Nancy's site, and she does sell those seeds.
Oh,
So,
okay.
but I got mine from Jan from Not a Real Farm out in Manitoba. I went on her site and got those seeds, and I started them, and they're doing really good. I've got 16 plants, and they're 6 feet tall, but they're an indeterminate. Now, there's an indeterminate and a determinate. And I wasn't quite sure at first until I studied it. And yeah, they're an indeterminate, so they're growing like crazy and they're growing everywhere. So I've got them all tied up. They're trying to fall over, but I'm using bamboo sticks. And I built beds. I had on my property, I had gifted vinyl siding. So I decided to, everybody's buying these Vigo beds. Well, I can't afford those. So I decided to create my own, and I made all my raised beds out of vinyl siding. And my peppers, I've got peppers that are 2 and 3 feet tall. They're doing amazing in all these beds. So I got
Awesome.
quite a variety.
That is really awesome. One question, how long of a season do you have to grow all your vegetables?
Well, we can get frost right into June, which we did. Usually June 15th is the best time to start planting everything. You can start ahead of time in your house or if you got a cabin or whatever. And it's been weird because the last couple of years, usually we can get a frost in September, October, but the last couple of years we haven't gotten a frost till almost December. So it's kind of flopping. Yeah, it's really weird. I've had zucchini all the way up to November last year. I was harvesting zucchini. So yeah, it's really weird.
Now, Terminator, what part of Canada are you in?
I'm in Ontario.
Okay, so you're just over the border from New York then, kind of. Because it sounds like you have a very similar climate to ours, except they just recently upgraded our USDA zone from 4B to 6. So
okay, I don't know. I don't follow that. So I don't know if they upgraded mine because I was 4B too.
I'm pretty sure they upgraded everybody because we got upgraded as well.
Well, see, I like to plant like I'm living in, say, zone 3 or zone 2 where it's cooler, or, I try to do it so that this way here I can continue to grow because we get really cold winters.
Yeah, we do too.
We barely get a winter.
That's what I think I'm
only like a week.
Yeah, I would say you're lucky about that, but you get all that heat that I just can't handle. So it's like the kids have barely even been outside this year because if it's not pouring down rain, it feels like it's 100 and some degrees outside. It's been brutal.
Yeah.
I have been growing sweet potatoes though up here, and I followed Danny and Wanda off of Deep South Homestead and in Danny's manual, and I've talked with them a couple times, and they need the hot temperature. So I have a small greenhouse I built with beds in it, and on each side, and that's where I planted them. So it stays between, when we get the cool nights, it's closed up, so it stays about 80 degrees in there, and then through the day I got to open everything in all the sides because it gets about 120 degrees. And they're doing fabulous, just lots of vines. So hopefully they'll grow some for me.
Awesome.
Can I ask y'all a question real quick?
Go ahead.
Okay, but without putting them in the ground, what's the best way to grow like just regular old russet potatoes, just regular old potatoes?
Potato sack? A grow sack?
Grow sack?
I use feed bags. I did 66 feed bags with potatoes this year, and they're doing, I went down and checked them about an hour ago, and my plants are about 3 feet tall, and I kind of looked in the dirt a bit, and I've got lots of potatoes. I figure if I can get 5 pounds of potatoes out of each bag, I'll have over 300 pounds of potatoes.
Do you have any IBC totes, Bug Out?
No, I don't. I was looking at, I don't have any seed bags at all. I've got a few empty containers. That's it.
You ought to see if somebody in the community has some IBC totes. All you would need is the metal portion, the protection on the outside. It's graded metal, right? And then you'll put down a layer of straw and then put your potato seeds in there, then another layer of straw, potato seeds, layer of straw. You're just going to repeat. And then as they grow, you'll just do that maybe about a third of the way. And then as they grow and the leaves start coming in, just add more straw on there until it's completely full. And then when it's time to harvest your potatoes, you can just grab them out of there. You'd also do the same thing in a laundry basket. So if it's cheap enough to just go get a laundry basket, go do that.
What about like a cardboard box? What about something like that?
I think it would work. I think you might be compromising the integrity of the because the cardboard is going to deteriorate. So I think as you watered or it got rained on and that kind of thing, I think you would compromise the integrity of the structure. So if that makes sense. Now I've never done it.
I got you. I was just asking, but I was thinking like the laundry basket, like you were saying, something like that. If I couldn't come across the seed bags and stuff. Now, what about like with the cuttings where the eyes are at? Can you just cut that stuff off and put it in there and start them like that, or do you need to have the seeds? Is that what you're talking about?
No. So on your potatoes, hang on just a second. I'm going to show you. Hang on. Let me go get.
So, real quick, while she's doing that, the week actually before the accident, I started an experiment that looks like it was bound for success until things happened and I wasn't able to keep up with it. But I had a bunch of 48-inch chicken wire left over from fencing in my medicine gardens. And so I made these great big hoops with the chicken wire. All I did was cut it and then I, twisted the ends together to make these great big hoops. And then I put them next to our garden. I put landscape fabric down at the bottom to keep any grass and things from growing up. And then I cleaned out our rabbit cage and threw that down, put my seed potatoes in and covered it over with another batch of rabbit bedding. And what was in there was growing like crazy. The idea was every time I cleaned the rabbit cages, I was going to be dumping it right in there to keep topping them off so that more grew. But because of everything happening, there was no topping off. But there is quite a few really good sized potatoes in there just from doing that. So,
yeah. So, Bug Out, this is what I'm talking about. If you can see that. So this is a sweet potato. And so if this was a regular potato, so the sweet potato, we just want these and these will continue to grow. I'm saving these for next year. So I'm not going to do anything with this right now. But on a regular potato, you could cut, so you got sprouts all over it. You could actually cut it. You could cut it. So this portion would be, this top portion would be one seed start. You would scar it. And to scar it, what I do is after I cut it, I dip it in wood ash from the wood burning stove. And then I could take this spot and this spot would be another seed start, etc. Right? So don't pluck your eyes off because those are your roots. That's what you want.
Okay. I got you now. I got you.
Yeah.
Girl, you're wearing that red lipstick. You go.
It's like my signature. I don't know. I've always worn red. And I get a lot of comments on my lipstick everywhere I go. I think more people should wear red lipstick. I
love red lipstick too.
Yeah, shout out. But
my mother always wore red lipstick.
Yeah.
I love it.
There's something empowering about red lipstick. There really is. It makes you feel good. It makes you feel confident. It does me anyway. And so, I put that on and it's just like being back in the 1950s and, only I'm in blue jeans. So
that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you showed me that because I knew about the eyes and maybe cutting it and stuff, but I was like, well, maybe I'm wrong on that because I'm thinking, okay, can I cut it in portions? How do I do that? I don't want to destroy it. And then you were saying seeds. I was like, huh. Okay.
Well, you could get potato seeds. So I've got seeds that are potato seeds, but this is going to be much faster. You're going to produce better here. Still not a bad idea to have potato seeds, right? So then that way, if something were to happen, like what STP is going through, this way, if you were to lose everything, at least you got a way to start everything, right? So that's as simple as, once you get those seeds, you can put those in a Mylar bag and then seal them up with an O2 absorber and hold those a lot better than, just sitting on a shelf exposed to heat and cold and that kind of thing. But potatoes, super simple. And there's several different ways to do it. You can go on. In fact, I'm not sure that they're going to be talking about potatoes, but I saw somebody else put something on about Billy. If you go over to Living Free in Tennessee, they're doing a free webinar tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Billy Bond is going to be on there from Permapasture Farms. And like I said, it's a free webinar. So you can just jump on there, get in that webinar. And if you're interested in learning some more stuff on permaculture and farming and growing and all of that, I'm not sure what that interaction is. I imagine they will be taking questions, but I can't promise anything. So I think G and I are planning on being on there as well. So we've got a lot of our friends that are teaching in that webinar. So
what is it called again?
Living Free in Tennessee. And it's a free webinar that they're offering. So you may have to sign up for her emails, but she sends out a reminder, hey, here's when it is and that kind of thing. But sign up for her emails. And you guys that are in Florida and close to Tennessee, we have SRF, Self-Reliance Festival, coming up. And you might want to check that one out too. There's going to be a lot of big speakers out there. We always have a good time. I'll be cooking and selling our food and doing all that. So that's something we do biannually. And we go out there and support them. I'll be doing live demo on vinegar making and that kind of thing. So
exciting.
Nicole sauce. That's who you're looking for, is Nicole sauce. Yes, Bean Sprout. So Nicole, I love Nicole, and she's great. If it wasn't for her and John Willis, I wouldn't have the business that I have right now.
And you told me to come.
Wonderful.
My little guy's trying to photobomb me in the worst way.
So I think we've all talked about gardening. I know Bug Out, I've talked with her quite a bit. She is planning her garden up. So any more things about that, Bug Out?
Oh, shit. Girl, I don't even know sometimes. I get out there. I went out there today and I looked at it and I was like, where to start? I'm trying to figure out how that sun moves around that yard because there's a big old cottonwood. There's a huge pecan, a bunch of paradise trees back there, all those fan trees, those palmetto trees and stuff. I'm like, where can I start this where it can get the right amount of sun and shade where it's not going to bake it? And I was thinking about on the right side of the house, but it gets so hot because that's the west side. And I thought, well, maybe on the other side I can do a little bit. But we were planning a real big garden, and I thought, man, that's a lot to keep up. So we're going to start small. We're gonna start very small, maybe just a couple rows, 2, 3, 4 rows, and kind of stagger stuff in those rows and things like that. But we were going through the seeds that we've got, and we've got some broccoli and banana peppers, carrots, onions, the simple stuff, some iceberg lettuce. I haven't tried any iceberg lettuce in a long time. The last time it was a great fail, but I was living in West Texas too. And then we got the tomatoes and some jalapenos. And those are things that we eat along with the potatoes. That's why I was asking about the potatoes and stuff. I was like, we might as well start with what we're going to eat. I know for sure. And then I'm going to venture out and try some of that exotic, like that Kiwana fruit stuff.
I know.
That sounds really good. It's
I'm
like
going to
food
look into
porn.
that one.
Yeah, Buffalo Seed Company has it. You can just order it from her. I'm amazed at how it's doing. It is a drought hardy, so there's not a lot of watering. In fact, we got too much rain, so in one spot that I planted it, the Kiwana, it just flooded out. My zucchini did the same thing, so that was a bummer.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm trying to take into consideration too, because I've got to learn this climate down here. I mean, it rains every day, even though it's just like for 5 or 10 minutes, but it's a pretty good little heavy rain for that amount of time. The ground back there is extremely soft. Like I said, it's like walking on marshmallows. I'm like, man, I don't want to put a bunch of seed in the ground and it get, drowned out like you were saying, or washed away, or things like that.
Actually, I'm going to disagree with you there. You kind of do. So you're learning your land. So go ahead and overplant and do all of that. You're going to figure out which are your volunteers. You're going to, so that plant's going to produce more plants. The following year, you're going to go, man, I didn't grow those tomatoes there. where did this come from, or this herb, and that kind of thing. Those are the seeds that you want to save, because those seeds just became acclimated to your climate. Does that make sense? So those are the seeds that you want. You can buy seeds from anywhere, but it depends on where those seeds are grown as to what their climate is like. So you're kind of gambling. So I would almost overgrow and then kind of see what you get in the next 2 years. And then those would be the seeds that I save to make sure I've got those in the seed vault.
Yeah, see, I even got my baby booties on yet on this big stuff. I mean, like I said, you know, the last time we was all on here, I tried everything. And then you just mentioned it depend on where those seeds were produced at, where they were grown at. And I'm over here trying to put them in freaking, excuse me, red clay in the desert, you know.
So you may have to do some soil amendment. Comfrey's great for that, you know that. So spread that out. That'll be fixed in a year. And then just keep those in. Yeah, I just keep the comfrey in the garden and let that kind of do its thing. And then you can always thin it out. You know, whenever you want. So thin it out and spread it out, because we're at the river bottom where we're at. So we have some fixing and things that we're doing around here. And we've been here, it'll be 3 years, October 1st. And we're just now seeing the land come back to life. We finally we found an apricot tree and just all kinds of fun stuff. So we're finally getting to see some progress here. It's kind of nice. We're off of the fixing for the most part, and getting on to homesteading makes it nice.
I want to go back to that potato. Yes.
The palm tree, that is great food too, because of the heart in it. That's swamp cabbage right there.
Yeah. Well, there's I think there's the palmetto trees. Is that the same thing that you're talking about, or the palm?
Well, the palmetto, those also, they can give out the seeds, and then those are your saw palmettos that is really good for guys' prostate.
Okay, well.
And you can eat the heart of those too.
Okay. Yeah, because it's so crazy. I'll take a picture of it. I'll put it on my community page. There is a saw palmetto growing in the middle of the trunk, in a gap where it splits into 3 spots of the cottonwood tree. And I thought that's the freakiest, coolest thing. I'm like, that's really odd, you know, but I'm in the jungle, so odd things happen.
There's a lot of things everywhere. So I have been sick and I've been recovering. I'm just now getting my voice back, and hopefully this live doesn't kill me and I have a voice tomorrow. But I went out and I told Gary, and I said, I just need, something's wrong. The strep throat feels like it's going away, but I'm tired. Like something is wrong. There's definitely a virus on top of this. And so he's like, well, what are you going to do? I said, I don't know. And so I sat down in the kitchen and started thinking about it. And I started looking out the window, what was in the yard. And I went over to the garden and kind of looked, and I got my red dragon beans are coming in. And so I got some dragon beans and plucked those. And I'm like, okay, this will be good protein, some good energy. So we'll get that going. And then I saw the goats got into some of my amaranth. So I'm like, well, I'll just take that amaranth and harvest it. So I took that, what they broke off, grabbed that, took some of the purslane. And then I look up, and this late in the year, it's kind of odd. The pussy willow has flowers on it. Usually we don't have them this late in the year. And so I was like, okay, the land's talking to me. So I went and I picked some pussy willow flowers, and then boiled everything down, got it all together, except for the purslane. I ate that raw. I just put that in there while it was warm, and then added some garlic, olive oil, and some Italian seasoning, and ate that. We have been Mac Daddying on that, and it was it was an energy boost. I mean, it was good. And so now Garen's like, you need to go pick more. We need to pickle this. This needs to be pickled. You need to just let me recover and get that going. But you would be amazed once you get things done and your land gets used to you, and you're used to your land, what you're seeing and what you're doing, and how your land is just going to feed you. And that's whether you're on 1 acre, quarter acre, all the way up to 1,000 acres. It just, your land will take care of you. You just got to keep an eye on it and know what you need. But I definitely, my land was telling me, girl, you need to get your butt in order and start eating something right. But yeah, so it was really good. I talk about superfood.
Mm.
I love those superfoods.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, your garden will take care of you if you. And I love it when when you don't feel good, you can just go in your garden and get what you need.
Yeah. Yeah.
Real quick, I see some of the people in the chat are talking about, distilling your own spirits and having a still. Um, just so everybody's aware, I know some stills like run into the thousands and thousands of dollars if you want to buy and you're not handy. You can actually buy it's a 9.6 liter, or no, 9.6 gallon still for under $100 on Amazon. So it's made by Vivor, and you can use it. It doesn't have to just be liquor. You can use it to distill water, distill essential oils, all that stuff. So just giving everybody a heads up.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
I think
Yeah.
every homestead should have a still on it. You got to think about distilled water. There's a lot of things we need for canning medicine and all of that. You got to have distilled water. If you're making your colloidal silver, distilled water is what you need. And so everybody should have a still.
Yep. And if anybody has a CPAP machine, you need it for that. I got my husband that for Christmas, so that's the only reason I know.
Mm-hmm.
So luckily that wasn't still on the deck. We took it to the barn the week before. So
Good, thank goodness. And All American, he likes to drink distilled water before he fights to help him lose some weight too.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? I didn't know that. What about it helps you lose weight?
There's nothing in it.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yep.
Actually, Rabbit Coyote, the only reason I bought it for my husband is because a friend of ours has been making moonshine on his for a while, the same one, and he actually did pretty good with it. So we figured we'd give it a shot for under $100. I mean, what do you really have to lose, right?
Well, and Weber, even though it's Chinese made, they're not bad products. They're actually coming out with some affordable things for the commercial kitchen. There's a few things in there I've got on my list. So I don't know. You guys know how I feel about buying China crap, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. So
exactly, it's like
It's hard to get away with
have
it.
an all-American canner, but it's not in the budget for all of us either. So sometimes the Presto just has to do it.
With the all-American canners, if you keep an eyeball out on those, on their website in particular, usually around Black Friday, if you just gear up and set some money aside, around Black Friday, they go lower in stock. And so you have to go on a waiting list in order to get them. And a lot of times they'll give you anywhere from $250 to $500 off.
Oh, damn. That's awesome.
That's how I got my great big huge all-American canner. I got $250 off of that one.
Oh, that's sweet.
Mm-hmm.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So just keep an eye out. I don't mind waiting, so it doesn't bother me.
Yeah. And in backstage, Terminator was talking about what she cooked for supper tonight. So I wanted to throw that in and a little bit about how you got your supper as well.
Oh yeah, I was cooking pork chops on the barbecue from my own homegrown pigs, from my own meat.
And how long have you been doing your own hogs?
I've been doing it for 46 years.
Oh, wow.
That is awesome.
Old school in the house. You know what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's that?
Go ahead.
No, I didn't hear what Bug Out said.
Oh.
I said old school in the house. You know what's up. You got skills is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Shannon, we're
the only thing I haven't raised is sheep. and that's where Yoda's in expert in that. I need some info on.
I don't know about expert. Who are you kidding? Trial and error, girl.
What I want is I want to raise them from the spring and then butcher them in the fall. I don't like to keep large livestock over winter because I did with horses and cows, and I used to haul because I don't have running water. I always melted snow, and I used to haul pails of water down to the barn 3-4 times from the morning till night.
Yeah,
And
that's
I've
the
gotten
second
away from
part.
that except for my chickens, which is fine. My chickens run out in the snow. They eat snow. I give them fresh water every day, but in the evening, because they don't, I can't free range like you guys do. I can't free range chickens. I'm fighting with raccoons right now, and I have fox, I have coyotes, and I have bears throughout the summertime. So wintertime is the best because I usually don't have anything except maybe the odd fox, but they don't bother the chickens much. But my chickens have runs and they love the snow.
Terminator, we have a couple of questions for you. Do you butcher the hogs yourself?
My daughter and my son-in-law, they come and shoot them. We hang them and skin them, and they butcher for me. I raise a hog for them, and they butcher and do all my cuts and everything. I'll make my sausages and everything for return.
Okay,
Sweet.
sounds good. Yoda, you was going to say something earlier. I think.
I don't know, maybe when she was talking about sheep. So I don't know, but yeah, we do sheep and goats out here. Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So Lucy, if you're wanting to do between just the spring and summer and fall for lamb, you're just gonna have to get used to small cuts of lamb. So like your lollipops are going to be a little bit smaller, and your lamb chops are going to be smaller. So instead of getting, we're on a large one that's just a little bit under a year old, I can get, let's just say, for example, I can get anywhere between 85 pounds and 126 pounds of meat off of them. And I have a Randy leg. And then I've got some Katahdin, which is a freaking nightmare. I know people love them, but I don't. It mixed in with my meat, all because somebody got into a hobby they didn't want. And every time G and I went on a camp out, they smuggled their damn sheep into our pen and left them there. So I'm probably the only person in the world that has people dump lambs on them. It just ticks me off, especially when I don't know where they came from, what they've had, and that kind of thing. So because then now I have to go through and we do everything naturally. So then I have to go through and retreat all of my animals and make sure that nobody got contaminated from anything. But if you can get used to those smaller cuts, which if it's you and your husband, I don't think that would be a problem. Your leg of lamb is probably going to be anywhere about 2 to 4 pounds on each leg. So your shanks are going to be smaller, but not a big deal. So I don't know. Just look at the type of lamb that you're thinking of. I think if you get a lamb that is set for meat, you'll get more weight on them.
Okay.
I know for us, we got so much, going back to the hog thing, we got so much wild hogs here that All American, he'll just shoot one and harvest it. Because they are so bad in like a lot of places. Even they'll be on sometimes if a school's football field has them. Because they don't want them to root up the football field, or the golf courses. Yeah, golf courses are really bad for them. So the dogs catch them, and that's how we get our pork.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, in fact, the guys are trying to put together a hog hunt. I think that's still going on. They keep talking about it. I think they're just trying to figure out a time. So they've been invited out to Texas. I think All American invited them out there, and then Oklahoma, Hutch down there. So I think they're just trying to figure out when they have time. That hog we got from Hutch that they did at Okie Homestead, holy hell, oh, that was good meat and red. And so I was really surprised at every cut I did and everything I cooked. It was like eating steak. It was wonderful. Really love
Yeah.
it.
There's so much here that they are a nuisance, and people just will like, hey, yeah, you can do whatever you need to here.
Yeah, it's open season in Texas on wild hog too. That and but they introduced axis deer from Africa. They got off one of those wild game reserves down there, and they're pushing out the white-tailed deer and all that stuff. Those things are huge. They give birth twice a year to twins. And when I first came across the access deer, I knew we had wild hogs out there, and we were camping out by the river, living down by the river. And I thought I heard a baby crying. I was like, certainly ain't nobody brought no baby out here and dropped it off. You can never tell that. And I stood around and I was looking, trying to figure out where that was at. And it was over on the other side of the banks. And there was a mama over there with her two does. I mean, her two fawns. And, but them wild hogs, they're open game, open season.
And Missouri's starting to get wild hogs too. So we noticed that in Pleasant Hill. We had some people from church that were actually having to kill hogs there, and that's in Cass County. So that it's really bizarre. I haven't seen any or heard any here, but most of the farmers keep everything under control pretty much here anyway. So
Yeah.
we don't have that issue. Moon sprout. So I do not milk the sheep. I would if I needed the medicine. I like the goats, so I do Nubian goats, and I actually breed those with pygmies, and so I get a kinder, which is stockier, so I get about 25 pounds more meat on them than I would from just a border goat, and then I get about a quarter to half gallon more milk out of the kinder than I do the Nubian, believe it or not, and so because they're stockier, they don't eat as much. They don't require as much land either. So this is the first real successful year that I've had with the kinders. So very, very exciting. But that's the milk that I like. What I like medicinal out of the sheep is the tallow. So anytime that you buy a lot of our salves and that kind of thing, you'll notice that I do some with olive oil because people like olive oil, but the sheep tallow is actually the best. And especially I use it in my soaps. I use it in the salves and all of that. And the reason why, in fact, when we were in Missouri, I had a lot of people had eczema super, super bad. And they would literally come and only buy my soap because I used the sheep tallow. Sheep tallow was the only thing that would keep their kids' eczema under control. So it's a great medicine. So yeah, there
That's
you go,
awesome.
Terminator. Yeah, so if you're going to do that, think about that too, because the smaller the sheep, the less tallow you're going to have.
Southern Tier, do you have any livestock of any kind, birds? What?
So
Tell us a little bit.
right now, we just have a flock of about a dozen free range chickens, and we have meat rabbits. We have a breeding trio, and right now we have their offspring that are ready for butcher, but my butchering equipment all got destroyed, so I'm kind of trying to sell them live right now, either for meat or breeding stock or pets or whatnot, just because I can't do anything with them in the situation that we're in right now. So because there's no freezer space left, there's all my canning stuff is gone, unless we were going to have a big old rabbit barbecue, it's really pointless for us to do it right now. So but in the past we have raised everything but sheep and alpacas and llamas. I mean, we've had beef cows and dairy cows. I was milking 2 cows twice a day for years, doing all of our own home dairying. We were drinking raw milk. I was making yogurt. I have a cream separator. So I was making our own butter and coffee creamer and, different cheeses, the whole 9 yards. We've raised our own pork. Um, I'm trying to think. Oh, we've had goats and we've milked those and raised them for meat as well. We've had turkeys. I talked a little bit about our turkey experience on my live today. I will never free range turkeys again. We couldn't walk from the house to the barn. Even my husband, and my husband's a big guy. None of us could walk from the house to the barn without having like a golf club or a baseball bat or a cane or something to to keep these turkeys away.
You just gotta
So
have the right kind of turkeys.
they were royal palms.
White royal
Um,
palms are fine. That's weird.
this trio, I'm telling you, they were from hell. So the first chance we got, we sold them at our local annual livestock auction, and they went for a really high price. And like
Yeah.
we made bank on these damn turkeys. And it turns out the person who bought them was a friend of ours, neighbor. And so we got to hear the story afterwards that right out of the gate, these turkeys attacked him and his kid.
Yeah.
So they went to freezer camp like immediately. So I think he had bought them with the intention of having a breeding trio,
He got
and
security.
resupplying. But after that happened, he had some really expensive Thanksgiving turkeys. So
Wow.
um,
We have a T-shirt you can find on our website, and it says "Don't be an angry pecker," and that was from a chicken that him and we battled. We battled. He went in the crock pot.
Yeah. And I mean, I had a goat once. Like, all my goats were the sweetest thing. And I had this goat named Snickers, and she was just so sweet. And when she came into her first heat, she decided she wanted to kill me.
Oh,
And I
Oh,
don't know why. I thought maybe when she was done with her heat that, she'd mellow out a little bit. Nope, it never went away. So I sold her. And a week after I sold her, she had triplets. So,
wow.
yeah,
oh.
but I couldn't do it anymore. Like she would, I couldn't turn my back to her, and even facing her, she would get me on my ass. I like almost every day. She decided after that first heat, she went from loving me and I was her favorite to she was out for blood.
Was
So
she a bottle baby?
uh I bought her right after she was weaned, so I don't know if she was a bottle baby or not, but she was very loving and like
I
loved
bet she
affection
was
and
a
everything
bottle
before that.
baby. I bet she was a bottle baby. This is what I tell everybody all the time, and it's really funny because they always ask me, "Do you have any bottle babies?" Like, you do not want a bottle baby. Yes, I do. I want a bottle baby. Okay, don't spoil this bottle baby. You need to make sure, take the bottle out to him, feed them in the field. Do not baby them. And they're like, oh no, they're just so sweet. And then everybody tells me the story of how they're so in love. And then by the time they're getting to the point where they're going into heat, they're like, this thing is an asshole. Well, yeah, because you bottle fed it. And so a good friend of mine, Nikki, oh my gosh, she cracks me up. She's our Kansas Terminator. And she cracks me up. We go in, I help this girl go get this cow, and we go get this Jersey cow. And I had the horse trailer. She didn't have one. She was going to put the damn cow in her Jeep. And I'm like, you're not doing that. That's not safe. And
I've got
she's like,
cats in my
it'll be
minivan and my
fine. I'm like,
Suburban.
no, we're going to get the trailer. I'll drive out with you. We'll go get this damn cow. And so I look at this cow, and I'm like, you didn't tell me that this cow was brand new. And she's like, yeah. And I said, Nikki, I said, how are you going to feed it? She goes, well, I'm going to bottle feed it. And I looked at her and I said, you cannot bottle feed this cow. And she was like, oh, yeah, it'll be fine. And I'm like, okay. And so I ask her, progressively every month, how's it going? How's the bottle baby? And I swear at 6 months, she's like, oh my God, I'm going to kill this bitch. And, because now she's knocking her over and, wanting her head rubbed. Well, you got 1,000-pound cow there that doesn't realize it's not a baby anymore. You've got goats. Goats can get quite heavy and they're strong. So,
And they leave with bad things.
yeah. And so, so bottle feeding is not always what it's cracked up to be.
No, it really isn't. And even with the calves that any calves that we ever got that weren't born here and we weren't calf sharing with the mom, we did like the big nipple buckets.
Mhm.
Just because I had to have my hands freed up. I mean, I had our kids 5 days short of being 2 years apart, the ones that we have together. So I had my hands with a baby the whole time I was milking, whether it was one or the other.
Yeah.
So it was just easy to milk one of our cows out, give that to the calves, and then the other milking was, for us to consume. And the nipple buckets were like the calf bars. Those things were such a time and pain in the butt saver, because then I was cleaning one bucket a day. I wasn't cleaning like 5 individual little bottles. And they loved it and it was healthy. And then they weren't looking to me when they got bigger and they were hungry. I mean, they knew the grain
Excuse me.
bucket, but they weren't like trying to mount me or anything like I've had a cow in heat try to do before.
Yeah.
That's always fun.
Yeah, then I wonder
I
why
would,
I have a bad back, right?
yeah, really. I have a question for y'all that have chickens. Do y'all ferment your chicken food?
Hmm. And our goat feed and our sheep feed.
Oh, okay.
I have. I'm not doing it currently because I'm not doing anything the way I want to currently. But yeah.
Okay.
No, I have a question. Uh, why would you ferment? How would you ferment their food? What is that all about?
You want me to take that one?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you ferment your food, you're actually going to get it to stretch a lot farther. So you take your bucket, a 5-gallon bucket, and then put your feed in and fill it up about halfway. And then you want to put the water line in so that it's just above the feed, and it's going to start to expand. But you want to watch it because you want to make sure that there's constantly water over that top line. So you just turned half a 5-gallon bucket into a 5-gallon bucket of feed. And so it stretches, it fills them up. Plus, it's the process of fermenting, right? So it's going to sit heavier on their belly. They're going to feel fuller. It lasts longer. It's the benefit of fermenting the food. We actually learned that one from Billy Bond over at Perma Pasture Farm. He ferments a lot of good stuff as well. So, but chickens are the same. Some of the fermented stuff chickens like, some of them they don't like. It just kind of depends. I've gotten into these American Bressies, and they're just a bunch of racist snobs. And so I'm trying to figure that one out. I don't know. They don't like any other bird, any other color bird. They hang out with each other only, and they're very damn picky about their food. So, yeah.
Birds of the feather flock together.
Yes. So, but yeah, somebody was asking in here, I hear chickens. Who's got chickens? We right now have turkeys and ducks in our living room. She was working on, looks like he's working on the ducks now, working on getting everybody out of these brooders and then getting them outside. So we're doing some moving around, trying to get our house unstinky. Ducks are horrible and I hate brooding them.
Something else that I did over this winter is I bought some sprouting trays, like a rack that the sprouting trays go on, and I was using that to grow fodder for our chickens and for the rabbits over the winter, so that they could have, you know, the not just the nutrition from the microgreens, but also from the like the, how do you say it? Like the boredom, like so that they had something different, and it wasn't just grain all the time, but they had something that they could peck at and keep their, you know, bellies digesting.
Have you tried the fodder? You know, we do fodder in the 5-gallon buckets as well. So,
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, and so just fill it up with the barley seed and then with the water and let it go, and then you can go ahead and feed them that fodder throughout the year, actually. So. Nice. Right now, they found the purslane. We've got purslane going crazy out here now that I know what it is. And I've identified it and seen it. The purslane's going crazy. And I have noticed today it was warm, and all of the turkeys, chickens, everybody alike, they were all eating the purslane. So, but yeah, during the winter, just do the barley or whatever you want. But
yeah, I was doing a lot of alfalfa and lentils and broccoli just because I buy that stuff in bulk for us.
Yeah.
So it just made sense to, you know, make one purchase and use what we use for everyone.
I have a lot of people right now that are contacting me. The heat has been up and down, cool, warm, that kind of thing. And I'm getting a lot of text messages and emails. My chickens have stopped laying. Well, it's important around this time of year. I'm just going to throw it out there because I'm thinking about it, and I'm sure that, you know, I'm seeing some people in here that have asked. It's important now, and especially like what we're talking about with the fodder. The reason why you want to do that is because you want to get that extra protein into them. They need that extra protein in order to be able to increase their production of eggs. And that could be as simple as boiling the beans and then throwing the beans out after they cool, and then just let them peck on that. And once they peck on those beans, you'll see about a week or so, their egg production will start picking up again. Just
I
kind of.
also noticed this time of year too. A lot of times the kids will say there's not as many eggs in the coop. Somebody's not laying, or no, it's not that somebody's not laying. It's somebody went and hit a clutch somewhere and is sitting on them because they're going broody.
Yep.
So a lot of times, when we're collecting their eggs every day and they decide that they want to have chicks, I mean, they're gonna go do it.
Yeah,
And the
they're
kids,
gonna.
like, it's not me closing the coop right now because of my back, and they're not going to sit there and count the chickens and make sure that
No.
everybody's where they need to be. So or check the nests and all that stuff. So yeah, so when we find a drop in our eggs this time of year, it's usually because somebody's hiding, sitting on a hidden nest somewhere.
Yeah, these are people that don't free range their chickens, so I know it's not that, because that would be my first comment. Because we have that, we got turkeys that will disappear, and we're like, well, we hope they're not dead. Next thing you know, they're walking back with 8 chicks. So yeah. So, but I know it's not that for them. So, protein pickup. If you start noticing that, protein pickup. But an Easter egg hunt is always a good idea as well. Kind of see what's going on the land.
Our guineas were always the worst with that. They never laid where they were supposed to. And when we'd finally find a nest, because we had several guineas and they'd all lay together, we'd find a nest of like 30 eggs, and they would be like all sort of arranged like a pyramid. And it's like, how do you think you're going to hatch these?
I
Like,
know.
really? There's no way
It's
your little butt is
ridiculous.
going to sit on
I've
this
seen
nest.
I've seen one of the smallest chickens. Like, I swear she must have only been like 4 or 5 pounds. And so she had all of the chickens decided, because she went broody, they were going to let her do their job. So she must have had 24, 36 eggs in there. And I kid you not, I go in there and I'm looking, and she's got one wing over here, one wing over here. She's all spread out. And I'm like, I'm going to help you out. We're going to take some of those eggs out from underneath you so you can keep everybody healthy. And that was a bad idea. She was like, no, you're not. Ah! And so I was like, I just let her have them. And of course, none of those hatched. So, because
I decided the next time I have to get eggs out from under a broody hen, because I got pecked all the shit last time I tried. I've seen that people are using those chuck it ball throwers that you use to throw the tennis balls for the dogs. As like a handle to reach under there and scoop the eggs out. And I'm like, you know what? If I can do that without breaking them, that's the way to go, because I do not need my hands all pecked up again.
I think what I would do is just put that little thing, because isn't it like a U on it? I would just put that around their neck, and then see, this is why I should not have this tool in my arsenal.
There's no U on it. It's like a little cup that holds the tennis ball on a handle, and you kind of like whip it, and it throws the ball out for the dogs. But it looks like a little egg cup on a handle. So I mean, it's worth a shot.
I'd be trying to figure out how to pin them up against the thing so I can just grab them and be faster. But my chickens are mean.
We have, for dog grooming, we have these certain gloves. So for dogs that really want to bite our hands all the time, or you can just get one of those gloves to bite through, or those gloves that are really good for maybe hot stuff, or super, super thick gloves. And then they can't peck you all the way through.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not above dispatching a problem chicken. We had a rooster that got aggressive with my son, and I got out my pistol crossbow for that one. We had an annual barbecue there a couple years ago, and we had a rooster actually attack one of our guests, like got right up on their face, on their plate and stuff. And it was like, nope. And you should see the look on some people's face when I pulled out my 9mm and took care of it right there. They're like, wait, what? It's like, once they do that, it's bad behavior. So like, with pulling out a egg under a broody chicken, I can't blame them. That's me going into their territory, pulling out their offspring. So that's not their fault. But when they're aggressive like that, they gotta go, and they gotta go fast.
Yeah. So Moonsprout, I could see that if you're dealing with 12 chickens and that kind of thing. But I mean, we're like dealing with hundreds at a time sometimes. So I would have cages everywhere. Like, this would not be a good thing. So I don't think that would work for me, but it's not a bad idea. And G and I have done it 1 or 2 times, especially when we had a broody hen that was getting beat up. We get 5 hens decide they're going to go into one box, which is normal. And but they all go in, and then they're fighting over the eggs, and then all the eggs are broken. So we've separated them that way for that reason. But we can usually figure out who that broody one is, and then put her where she needs to be. But yeah, it wouldn't work for us. We have too much volume. I need
everybody will need a timeout kennel.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate y'all. You know what time it is. Battery's dead. I learned a lot. I do want to ask something real quick, Yoda, on or anybody else on panel on the goats. I want to start with maybe one goat. What would be a good starter goat for somebody that hadn't had goats before?
A Nubian, if you want it. Well, first of all, what you need to decide. Okay, let's start here. One goat is not a good idea. They're social animals. You need to have at least 2. And so then you need to, because they'll get bored. And like I've said, and I always say this, goats and sheep wake up in the morning, and the first question they ask themselves is, how can I kill myself today? And then they figure it out and go and do it. And so you need to, so that they keep each other busy. Then you need to figure out, what is your goal? So are you looking for only meat production? Are you looking for milk and meat production? Are you looking for just milk production?
Milk, cheese.
Okay, so then I would recommend a Nubian or a Kinder if you can find a Kinder. And these don't have to be registered. A lot of times you can find them in your Facebook pages, people paying attention and that kind of thing. Just know how you word it. Don't say sell. Don't put a price on it. You just want a PM. Just say looking for, XYZ, and then PM, please, if you have anything. And then you guys can decide what you're going to barter or what you're going to pay or whatever behind the scenes. So Facebook isn't all up in your business and going, we're freaking liberals, and so you can't buy or sell animals. We're partners. This is what we do. We buy and sell. And so
perfect.
So you try that, and then maybe start looking and start on freesteading.com. Look and see who's in your state, who has those animals, what you can barter or trade out there, and then do that. You also want to make sure that you have proper fencing before you pull any of these goats on. And so any of the fencing, do not put hay bales or anything that they can jump on next to the fence. Because if you want to go on your vehicle really, really fast, that's the best way to get it.
And watch the low spots where they can
watch the low spots.
Under.
They're experts in escaping. And so you want to make sure that your fencing is set up really well. We actually are lucky. We have somebody in our community that actually builds fencing for ranchers and farmers. And he came out and put my fence up. And then what we did, he put a strand of barbed wire over the very top of that. That has kept them from going over. And they learned really, really quick. Like, it was so funny to me because when we first put it in, oh my God, Jasper was out there and he did a whole tour of all the acreage of fencing and looked at it, and then stood in the middle of the field and stomped his foot and looked at Chris and Garen and I and Levi, and he stuck his tongue out at us and growled like he was mad. So he knew he could not get out of there. So you just want to make sure. I would definitely suggest that you invest in your fencing. It can be expensive, but with goats, you're definitely going to want to do that because it's more expensive when you have to start replacing shit because they tear it up.
Absolutely. And if they get into your garden, they will eat themselves to death.
Yes.
I had a La Mancha who got out while we weren't home, and she ate every cabbage in our garden. And when we got home, she was dead. Like, she gave herself bloat. And they will literally eat anything, and they will eat themselves to death if they're given the opportunity.
And that's another one. So that's true. And I forgot about that. So that's another one. You want to make sure that you look at your land, and especially where you're going to put that pasture in and where you're going to graze them. You want to look at that because wild onions will cause bloat. The STP, help me out here. There's quite a few. The butterfly, everybody likes the milkweed for their butterflies. That will cause bloat. There's
cabbage for sure. Any of the brassicas, if they get into too much of it, it'll cause way too much gas, and if you don't get to them quick enough with the baking soda and water, they're gone.
Yep. We actually we keep TheraBloat on hand. I'm not sure how readily accessible it is now, but the baking soda and all that stuff works. But yeah, there's nothing worse or a more painful death to an animal, to a goat or sheep, than bloat. It's terrible to
Golly.
watch. Terrible to watch.
And they will kill your trees too.
Oh yeah.
We had a separate pasture for our goats than the cows, thank goodness, or else our whole woods would have been decimated. And in the goat pasture, we had a bunch of, thank goodness they weren't like our good grafted eating apple trees, but they were like some native apples. And within 2 years, they had every single apple tree in that pasture totally decimated. It,
Yeah.
it's been bonfire and smoker wood ever since, and we're still trying to go through it. And we haven't had goats in probably 5 to 7 years.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
yeah. So any trees you really, anything that they can get into, think of them as a 2-year-old on steroids with a
Oh
temper,
shit.
Yeah.
and with Houdini genes mixed in there somewhere.
Yeah.
And
And if you have a favorite tree and there's something that you really like pawpaws, because your husband says that we need to figure out when SHTF happens, we got to figure out ice and bananas, and you solve that issue, and you find all these pawpaw trees and go, oh crap, they're in the middle of the pasture that's already fenced in. And they go, oh, you like those. You're picking that fruit. Okay, I'm going to eat them all down and kill them.
I
I
say
got you.
there's a damn good reason that the Church of Satan has a goat head as their logo.
I got you. Well, thank y'all so much, ladies. I appreciate you. I was prepared tonight. I got my all my notes done, and hopefully I'll see y'all again. What, Monday?
Yes, ma'am. Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Thanks for
All right.
having me. This was a lot of fun.
Bye, Bug Out.
Bye.
Bye. See y'all later.
I'm gonna have to get going too. I've got somebody that needs his supper and he gets cranky.
Yeah, my back is screaming at me. So
Yeah.
All right.
You
It's all
guys
good.
all
Bye.
take care. Nice talking with you all.
Bye,
Yep.
Terminator. I'm glad you joined us.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Well, thank you, ladies, for having me. I appreciate it. This was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to doing this again.
Yes, and maybe your husband or your kids can figure out a way where when you're laying on your back after your surgery, you can have your phone just above your head.
Well, you know what? It's funny because I bought like one of those clamp-on like arm things, the flexible arm things to like film when I'm cooking for my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And just the other day, I finally put it up in the cabin because I clipped it onto our headboard, and I've been having it above my head to watch YouTube videos and to watch live streams. And he's like, "Really? That's what you're going to use it for?" So maybe I'll be able to. It'll be a little weird, like doing a live stream in bed, but hey, you never know.
You never know.
Hey, it works.
There's
And you got
probably-
good information.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll do it if you do it.
you might be surprised how many people are going to be in the same situation that'll just join you because they're going through the same thing.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it's not fun. I had 2 discs replaced in my neck last June. And then right before I went in for that surgery, I was trying to dig a hole for a blueberry bush, and I blew out this disc in my lumbar region. So now I'm having a fusion done in 2 weeks, and should be fun. It's going to have a much longer, harder recovery than the neck did. So hopefully I'll be back on the motorcycle and in the kayak and in the garden next year. So I'm just writing off 2024 as like the worst year ever.
There you go. And people in the chats are sending prayers out for you.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Keep them coming.
Yeah. Sometimes the Lord just has a way of slowing us down when we won't slow down ourselves.
No, he pulled the brake on me for sure.
Yeah. Well, Southern, if you want to say any last words to the chat, go right ahead.
Well, thanks for your prayers, guys, and I'm so happy to be here. I appreciate it, and make sure that you keep plugging away and do your research and prep on.
All right, thank you. Nice seeing you.
Thank you. Bye.
And Yoda, if you want to wrap it up for you as well, I guess everybody's heading out, so wrap it up for you as well then.
All right. Well, you guys can join us on our YouTube. We appreciate you guys and love doing it. We missed our live this week. We will be back on next week. I just couldn't talk. There was several things I couldn't do, and G was like, "Save your voice. You need to get better." So, with that being said, make sure that you have everything prepared, and that's one thing. STP. Hopefully, she can still hear, or if she goes back. That's one thing that we have to do, and especially when there's just a few of us on the farm or the land or what we're doing, and we need to make sure that we can cover for each other. And sometimes there's just no way around it. You're sick as a dog, you got to get up and you got to go check chickens, you got to make sure water's done, you got to get all that, and it sucks. It does suck, but it needs to be done. And so with that, you guys go ahead and get all the education that you can, learn as much as you can, try to absorb as much information as possible, because we are going to need it. And let's help each other out. Let's just be better, and let's be better together. And like I always like to say, be at least 1% better tomorrow than you were today.
Yes, and yes. And that's what Ladies Night is all about, is us everybody learning from everybody. Even if you can't absorb so much information, write it down in a book. I mean, that's what I've been doing, is writing stuff down in a book because sometimes my brain doesn't want to work. And so
I've been doing this for years.
Yeah.
So yeah, for years.
It's awesome. And and if you're able to come in on Monday, I'll send you the link for the Ladies Night. And it sounds like your voice is doing really good. I hope that you're out of the woods for all that as well.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I started the ivermectin as soon as I figured out this isn't just strep, something else is going on. I started the ivermectin, and I'm better. So yeah, I still scratchy here, but it was weeks in hurting, and it's going to be weeks in healing. So, but with all of my fine natural doctors, my friends, they've been helping me out, and so I just needed a couple medications, and so it is what it is. But I did not get tested for COVID, but common sense, right? So obviously I had a bug going on I needed to take care of.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming. I'm glad you were feeling good enough to join. Hopefully I'll see you on Monday as well. And thank you all everybody in the chat for coming in. We really appreciate everybody coming in. Hopefully everybody learned so much. And hold on, I see one question. Can we talk about taking ivermectin next live?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I'll actually I'll write it down so I can try to remember.
Yeah, and then I have several different forms here, so I will try to get that. One of them, I'm going to just warn you right now, we may have to step around that a little bit because YouTube does not like it.
Oh, okay.
So
you're good about going around saying what you need to say without saying it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, sounds good. And hopefully I'll see everybody next Ladies Night Live, Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Everybody have a blessed evening.
Night.